Imagine a place so secure that even the most dangerous men in America vanish behind its walls, forever. A place where silence is louder than screams, and where prisoners are locked away for 23 hours a day in cells smaller than a parking space. They call it the Alcatraz of the Rockies, ADX Florence. But what really happens inside the world's most notorious supermax prison? Tonight, we're pulling back the concrete curtain. From secretive construction to inmates who run empires, from solitary to chilling escape attempts no one talks about. You're about to see inside ADX Florence like never before. To understand why ADX Florence was built, we need to go back to the blood-soaked years of the 1980s and 1990s. America's prisons were out of control. Violent riots broke out across the nation. Marion, Leavenworth, Atlanta. Guards were murdered, inmates escaped, and the federal government realized maximum security wasn't enough. So in 1994, they broke ground on a prison unlike any the world had ever seen, costing nearly $60 million, buried in the Colorado desert, surrounded by razor wire and armed towers. It was designed not to rehabilitate, but to contain the worst of the worst. Every inch of ADX Florence was engineered with one purpose: to make escape impossible. Now imagine this: a 7 by 12 foot concrete box. Inside, you have a steel bed, a sink, a toilet, and a window no bigger than a shoebox, angled so you can see only the sky. That's home. For 23 hours a day, inmates stare at concrete walls in absolute isolation. When they leave their cells, once a day for an hour, they're shackled hand and foot. Even their recreation yard is just another concrete cage, an empty pen where they pace in circles, staring at nothing but walls. Meals are slid through a slot in the door. Contact with the outside world? Nearly non-existent. Letters are censored, phone, calls monitored, and visits take place behind thick glass. For many, years pass without touching another human being. ADX Florence became a warehouse for the most infamous criminals in modern history. Terrorists, cartel bosses, spies, killers who murdered inside prison walls. These are the men too dangerous for normal prisons. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, spent years here before his death in 2023. Ramzi Youssef, the architect of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, reportedly spends 23 hours a day staring at his cell wall. And when El Chapo, the world's most notorious drug lord, was finally extradited to the U.S., this was the only place secure enough to hold him. But ADX Florence isn't just about physical confinement. It's about psychological control. Experts say prolonged solitary confinement can shatter the human mind. Inmates have been known to scream for hours, smear themselves with feces, or bang their heads against walls, just to feel something. Interview-style reenactment of ex-guard. You can hear them howling at night. Some whisper to themselves, some sing, some just go silent. That silence is the scariest. They call it escape-proof. ADX Florence was designed with more layers of security than any other prison in America. But in the world of prisons, whenever someone says escape is impossible, someone always tries. Here's why escape is nearly unthinkable. Each inmate's cell door is remotely controlled. Hallways are lined with steel doors that only open one at a time. The fences? They're not just razor wire, they're pressure-sensitive, designed to detect a bird landing on them. And even if someone got through all of that, what's next? Miles of barren desert, patrolled by armed teams, with nowhere to hide. Yet there are whispers. Rumors of plans hatched in silence, escape attempts shut down before they even began. Inmates have tried smuggling, messages, bribing guards, or plotting diversions. None have made it past the walls. Not one. Even El Chapo, who tunneled out of 2 maximum security prisons in Mexico, admitted, Florence is different. After his extradition, he told fellow inmates, "This place, no one gets out." But while no one has broken out, violence still festers inside. ADX Florence holds men who have nothing to lose and everything to prove. With so much time in isolation, grudges become obsessions. In 2005, Richard Lee McNair, an escape artist famous for mailing himself out of prison, was transferred here. His reputation alone sparked fear among guards. And in 2008, 2 inmates managed the unthinkable, killing another prisoner inside the most secure facility in America. If they could do that under 24-hour surveillance, what else is possible? Every move is watched, every door is sealed, yet violence finds cracks in the concrete. Prison gangs still communicate, passing codes through toilets or hiding messages in legal mail. Even here, power struggles never die. It's not just the inmates who live in ADX Florence. Hundreds of staff, guards, psychologists, cooks, janitors, spend their days inside these walls. But make no mistake, working here is nothing like a normal prison job. Interview with former guard. It wears on you. You go in knowing you're outnumbered by men who would kill you if they had the chance. You eat, you sleep, you breathe security, and the silence follows you home. Turnover is high, stress is constant, and for some officers, the line between guard and prisoner begins to blur. Corruption scandals have hit ADX Florence. Guards accused of smuggling contraband, even helping inmates communicate with the outside world. In a place designed to be flawless, humans remain the weakest link. Many call ADX Florence the new Alcatraz, but in truth, it's far harsher. While Alcatraz was known for cold cells and shark-infested waters, Florence perfected the science of isolation. Some say it doesn't just punish the body, it destroys the mind. Former inmates describe hallucinations, voices whispering in the night, paranoia that never ends. Some lose themselves completely. Others adapt. They learn to live in their heads, building fantasy worlds just to survive another day. Inside these walls live the names that once shook the world. Each one, a headline. Each one, a symbol of violence, terror, or betrayal. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, waged an 18-year campaign of terror with homemade bombs. After his capture, Florence became his final destination. Here, the man who once demanded the world listen to his manifesto spent his final years in silence. Ramzi Youssef, mastermind of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, sits in permanent lockdown. He once bragged he would finish what he started. Instead, his words echo only against concrete walls. Zacarias Moussaoui, convicted conspirator of 9/11. Richard Reed, the failed shoe bomber. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the Boston Marathon bomber. Even Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, who tunneled out of prisons in Mexico, found himself trapped here, his empire crumbling on the outside. These men are locked in the same fortress, but each cell is its own world. They never meet. They never share. Each man serves his sentence in silence, surrounded not by fellow criminals, but by ghosts of his own making. Critics call ADX Florence a modern-day dungeon. Human rights groups argue that 23-hour solitary confinement isn't punishment, it's torture. Studies show that years in isolation can drive a person insane, and yet officials defend the prison as a necessary evil. Interview with former Bureau of Prisons official. These men killed guards, orchestrated bombings, ran cartels from inside prison walls. ADX ensures they can't hurt anyone ever again. That's justice. Justice or cruelty. That's the question that lingers over Florence. For some, it's the safest place in America. For others, it's proof that America has crossed the line between security and inhumanity. Most Americans will never see ADX Florence, and that's the point. It was built not just to hold prisoners, but to erase them, to bury them in plain sight, to make sure the names that once terrified the world slowly fade into silence. Inside ADX Florence, escape is impossible. Freedom is a fantasy. And for the men locked inside, time itself becomes the real-life sentence. If you found this story eye-opening, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share this video with someone who loves true crime documentaries. More shocking prison stories are coming your way.